This morning, we share the story of Tommy King, a young man whose bright spirit and smile touched everyone around him. Tommy lived with cerebral palsy and faced many challenges. His life was filled with laughter, love, and joy. His mother, Karen King, joins us to reflect his legacy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So for those who aren't familiar with Tommy and his story, tell us a little bit about him.
Tommy was a wonderful young man. He was a little bit early, and then he had cerebral palsy, but lived in a wheelchair. He was nonverbal. However, with him being nonverbal, he had the brightest smile that would light up a room, and that's how he communicated with us.
And how did people really connect with him?
What they did is that you could talk to him, and we knew he understood. So that was the hardest part, I believe, for him, that he was nonverbal. So we always laughed about his lip. So if his lip would start to curl down, everybody would start running. It's the lip, because that way he would start like screaming or yelling. But then all once he'd break into that smile, and he'd have the greatest belly laugh. It was really fun that a lot of people, when they would go, "We got him to smile today. He's so happy." And that's how we knew that he was always with us. And, one time it was funny, his brother looked at me and goes, "How come he never gets in trouble?" And all once we see Tommy kind of belly laughing, like, yeah, he's right. So as he went into his adulthood, same thing. People gravitated toward him. He had lots of nicknames. One was Tommy Pickles, because they just thought that he was just so sweet, and he was spoiled for that reason, because everyone wanted to do everything for him because he was so cute and so happy all the time.
Well, and I love that you have those memories of him. But when the path became a little bit more difficult for Tommy and your family really faced the moment of deciding how to proceed, how did you arrive at the decision to call Hosparus Health?
Well, anytime you mention the word Hosparus, you get that part in your head and your heart saying, I don't want to go down this path.
Yeah.
But we were watching him struggle. He was in the hospital, and we first thought we weren't going to call Hosparus. But then we decided, why don't we let someone else help us with this journey? So the decision was made. They offered us to go home with him or go into downtown Norton facility. And so that's when I looked at them and said, because I said, I wanted to know about Hosparus at home. They said, well, they would come, but you would be primarily giving his care again as he journeys on. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I've been his nurse and his caregiver for 35 years.
Yeah.
And now I just want to be his mom. Then we could focus just on him.
So how did that role kind of change for you?
It was a relief. It truly was a relief. I didn't have to worry about his medicines anymore. I didn't have to see I knew that if he was uncomfortable, and that was the wonderful thing about Hosparus, about the nursing care that he received. All I had to do was basically press a button, and they were there immediately in our room. And I could just sit there and hold his hand and talk to him.
Yeah.
And that's the memories I'll treasure with him in his final few days.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what lessons from Tommy's life have you kind of carried forward? And how have you kind of looked back at your time, with the Hosparus and all of that?
Hosparus was just wonderful. When we were there in the room, now don't get me wrong, I come from a large family as well as my husband's family. So there was always 30 plus people in our room with him during our care there. At one point, they asked us if we wanted to change rooms to get a bigger room. We're like, no, we're good. This is our room here. And that helped a lot. And the chaplain came in, and she would pray with us and gave us guidance. And on the day that he passed, she came in and said that Tommy's now running with the angels. And that just touched my heart, because that's how I see him now, running with the angels, because he was an angel to us on earth. A lot of people said that he gave perspective to their lives after he passed. And I didn't realize how much effect Tommy had on so many different people. And the funeral was beautiful, and his final goodbye, but it was just touching that the number of lives he touched. And that was just Tommy. That was just our family. That's how we raised him. He was always out and about with us. We were going to make Tommy come into this world and be accepted, and we're going to have other people accept him. he was part of us. We weren't going to keep him home, and we didn't. And that's what got us through all of his years with us. And it wasn't always easy. I'm making it sound that it wasn't, but the most part, he was a blessing to us and to a lot of people, which we're carrying that on for him. And the more I get to talk about him, the more blessed I feel that he was part of us.
Those who are out there watching right now, what is one message of hope or encouragement you want viewers to kind of take away from your experience?
When someone mentions the word hospice care, don't shy away from it because it does help. It takes the burden off of you. It is scary because you don't want anybody to be at the end of their life. However, if you've got people there that are willing to help you and guide you, and you can just be with your loved one for those days, weeks, however long that they need to be with you. And that's the best part about hospice. We walked in there and I felt relieved. And then the care that they just kept coming in, even from showing up with coffee or bringing extra chairs or whatever we needed, they were there. And that says a lot in this crazy world that we live in some days. But there's that little piece of love there that they showed us, and we were able to carry that on with them.
Well, again, thank you so much for sharing your touching story. We really, really appreciate it. So if you're interested in learning more about their services or looking more into Tommy's story, you can go over to their blog at hosparushealth.org.